Hey, scummers, Spamule here. And obviously, I am joined by Nathan. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good, mate. A little under the weather, a little beaten up by the world in general, but generally speaking, good. How are you?
Yeah, you know what? A little bit the same. And anyone who has seen our Instagram will actually know that that's how we both are. So, scummers, this last fortnight has been, to put it mildly, a living nightmare from which there has been no awakening. And although Nathan and myself have recorded the Van Saar episode, um, it is not edited yet. And we did not want to miss out on a fortnightly release for our audience. So Nathan actually had the idea of replacing the episode with one of our Patreon episodes. Now,
Because I'm the brains behind the operation, buddy.
so if you hate the episode, it's his fault. But what we're actually doing here is to ensure that you're getting an episode of Underhive Lorekeepers. We are giving you one of our Patreon episodes. In fact, it was the first episode on our Dramatis Personae series. Now, it's a bit of a different episode. We don't do as much of a read, but we go over a couple of the Dramatis Personae that we sort of randomly picked, and we give some ideas, some gang ideas, and we go down a few interesting paths with this one.
Caryatid holds, mate. Caryatid holds. Caryatid holds. Holes? I can't even speak. I'm still unwell.
Yes, he's
Grandpapa
still
of
very
Noble.
unwell. So, we hope you enjoy this episode, and as soon as it is available, that Van Saar episode will finally be released for you all. And let me tell you, it is a doozy. So, Nathan, closing thoughts on this fantastic impromptu opening scene that hasn't taken 30 minutes, which is amazing
That's
for
what I was
us.
about to say. It's like one of our intros that we haven't I think it's going to be an under 5 minute intro, but give it time. We'll see. We're still cooking. But what I was going to say is that I can officially declare the Van Saar episode as both cursed and destined for doom. And it's almost like it's time traveling. Like we're talking about it now, but it's going into the future. That's when you hear the episode, it'll make a lot more sense, folks. It's pretty funny. But it is a cursed episode.
This intro has gotten far out of hand. So, Scummers, we are going to leave you here, and we hope you enjoy this glimpse into our Patreon. And if you do enjoy the episode and you're interested in getting more and supporting the podcast, please shoot over to patreon.com/the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast. We are obviously 100% funded by the goodwill of our audience, though we do this for the love of Necromunda. Now, each month we have Patreon exclusive episodes, just like you're about to hear, as well as competitions, polls on episodes, and other bonus content. And if you are looking at other ways of supporting us, get onto our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. A like and subscribe helps us grow and gets our particular brand of Necromunda lore out into the world. All of our links will be in the show notes, and don't forget to give us a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform.
So enjoy the episode, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Hello and welcome to, I guess it'd be the first episode of Patreon exclusive Underhive Lorekeepers. The number one Necromunda lore podcast. Actually, no, you know what? We're on Patreon. Screw it. We're the number one Necromunda lore podcast.
This is our realm. We do
This is
what we
our
want
realm.
here.
We're the number one Necromunda lore podcast. that you're currently listening to on Patreon. So, as always, I am Spamiel, and to my right, it's Patreon exclusive Manvid. How are you, buddy?
That's not an M word, you fool.
No, it's literally, it's just everything Patreon exclusive here. All
Oh,
insults Patreon exclusive based. Look,
okay.
people are literally here to have me yell at you. This is going to be 67 minutes, as specifically requested by our Patreons, of just unrelenting hatred. So we're starting here with the way you mispronounce it. No, we are not. How
Play
are
that
we,
game.
buddy?
See what happens. I'm good. I'm good. I feel like we are off the chain here.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit more fun, a little bit more freedom.
A little bit more loosey-goosey.
Yes, exactly. I actually hired a goose to call it Lucy just to have it here for the night. Lucy the Goosey. That's what you get in Patreon. You get top tier quality Nathanisms.
Nathanisms. And just like that, we've lost every single Patreon. Guys, gals, I totally get it. But no, we are going to be having a little bit of fun with what we're putting out here. And one big thing we have said we want to focus on is what you all want to focus on. And this actual first series we're looking at doing was a request from one of our Patreons, Alex. Now, Alex wanted to know about the Dramatis Personae. They are all across multiple books, and, you know, just wanting to read specifically about them, it can be a bit of an ask. So, between me and Nathan, we own all the books. So, we can read it all for you. And what we're looking at doing with this first Dramatis Personae series is going through, we're going to say, maybe 4 of the Dramatis Personae picked at random. And from that, we want to go not only through their lore, but through a gang idea, or possibly a way to build an outcast gang around them. And sort of how we would maybe get that onto the tabletop, how we'd be doing that. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we will be having quite a bit of fun with this, just mainly because we get to explore some ideas and go down tangents that we wouldn't normally go down with the episodes proper. Not to say that we don't go down ridiculous tangents that sometimes we struggle to come back from, but we have the opportunity.
Name one tangent I have ever gone down. And you can't mention anything beginning with C.
All right. Caryatids. Tarriers kids.
Yeah, that was actually pretty close. All right, well done.
Big brain Nathan. But no, yeah, like, I mean, this gives us the opportunity to just really explore ideas and concepts that we think about when it comes to the Dramatis Personae. And another thing, if you are listening to this and you're like, hey, I want to hear about X, Y, and Z on Necromunda, please hit us up, let us know. We're more than happy to embrace some ideas and see what content we can create for you.
Yeah, 100%. I've said quite specifically in some of our posts, if you guys want to hear about a faction or a group, and if it isn't really looking like it's going to fit within our sort of regular fortnightly schedule, we are more than happy to make it and put it up here exclusively for you guys. So, that being said, let's jump into the episode 1 of this series for Alex of the Dramatis Personae. Now,
Wait 1 second. Don't we have some spamial corrections?
No,
no,
this
sorry.
is the first one.
I'm just so used to them. That's all. I just thought we just have some already. My apologies.
Okay. I'm guessing we will most likely have one by the end of this episode.
Yeah. Probably. I dare say so. All right. Stop derailing this
Yes, yes, it's
episode.
my own fault. It's my
It,
own
it,
fault.
it is. I blame you 90% of the time.
All right, so I am going to now randomly generate 4 Dramatis Personae, and we are looking at Bigby Crumb, Estus Jet, Jonny Razor, and Vandoth the Fallen. Okay.
Those are actually 4 really awesome ones. It's funny though. Estus Jet is that like EasyJet or in Necromunda, or is it like Virgin Airlines in Necromunda, or is it a different type of airline?
I think I actually think Air Necromunda is a stratoplane
Don't.
company. I'm not sure.
What are you?
I'd completely forgotten about stratoplanes. You brought them back up.
What are you, pterodactyl-sized stratoplanes? Yeah, right. So, in classic Underhive Lorekeeper style, we'll start with a read and have a discussion.
Got it.
Sound good to you, boss?
Let's do it.
As Esmeralda, Hold Mother of the Dust Falls Deep 9 Orphanarium, tells it, she found Jet under an overturned cart in the aftermath of what appeared to be a rat skin ambush on some green hivers. Interject my own read here. Ratskins!
Absolutely.
Ratskins! Alright. There was only a little left of the hivers, the area splattered in blood and littered with body parts. The only clue to the child's identity was a tarnished collar around her neck, the only legible letters on it. ESTSUJET. Estujet?
Sujet.
Etsujet. Yeah. Jet was taught all the skills she needed to survive by Esmeralda. These were skills all the girls of Deep 9 learned, like how to break someone's neck with a dropkick, the kill points on an ash devil, and how to tell the difference between second best that'll kill you and second best that'll only make you blind. The best of Esmeralda's girls could then expect good jobs as Gilda's guards or hired guns, with creds going back to Esmeralda, of course. Jet, however, decided to take another path. Using her talent, she got in with the Archworks overboss Gideon Scav to become his right-hand woman. It was not long before Jet was running Gideon's racket out of Dust Falls and moving shipments of counterfeit war gear and weapons. This gave her ample opportunities to indulge in her favourite pastime, killing fools. She claims to sell the fastest bullets in the Underhive and challenges any potential customers to prove her wrong. Unsurprisingly, between Jet yelling, "Run," and her squeezing the trigger, her claims have remained intact. She sounds like a genuine barrel of laughs, this old Estus Jet.
He sounds like a murderous nutjob. I would not be shocked to learn her actual surname was Helmore.
And another Helmore. Yeah, right. It almost makes you want to try and work out what the actual name is, because
That is
obviously,
test subject.
oh, of course, idiot. When you didn't work that out.
Yes,
No, you didn't.
100%.
When?
When the Book of Judgment came out. Was
I
Book of
want to
Judgment
believe
she
you.
was in?
I don't. Yeah, Book of
Judgment.
Judgment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say I believe you. I don't believe you though. But she's very Escher-like, in my opinion. That's probably one of the other reasons I wanted to read about her. She looks a very dangerous character from her artwork, and the miniature actually portrays the artwork quite nicely as well. Probably one or two little improvements that could be made, but that's the nature of trying to transplant something from a piece of artwork into a miniature. But yeah, no, definitely impressed by her. But like, just her background is really quite awesome. And when I say her background's awesome, we don't know much about her. I'm talking about the Dust Falls Deep 9 Orphanarium. That's the cool bit for me.
In my mind, that is a this Esmeralda is running a like an assassin school. She takes in orphaned girls and effectively turns them into like picture Black Widow from the Marvel universe, but
Yeah.
actually effective. Like
Actually,
she like
you're gonna
Estes
anger people.
bring it on. But Estes Jet to me is she's been raised to be a weapon. And instead of serving other people, she's sort of turned around and said, nah, I don't want to be a guard. I don't want to be muscle. I want to run the whole thing. And she gets in with the Archworks overboss Gideon Scav. And it says there, it's not long before she's running the racket out of Dustfalls. She's the one in charge. She refers to them as her weapons. If I was Gideon Scav, I'd be a little bit worried.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still interested in this idea that she is a test subject, though. I find that quite engaging. And what exactly does that mean for her? And
I have a theory.
fire at me.
So, when Esmeralda found Estus Jet, she said it appears to be the aftermath of what appeared to be a rat skin ambush on some green hivers. There's no mention of rat skins. There's little left of the hivers, the area splattered in blood and littered with body parts.
Yeah,
Estus killed them.
she did. No,
I think she's a test subject.
Yeah.
I think she is either a weapon or she was a latent psyker.
Oh.
Now it's not shown in her
Yeah. In her
on
stat, in her profile. And
in her stat line or anything.
Yeah.
But I think possibly she was a weapon that went off and has wiped out everyone around her. And Esmeralda has just managed to find her. Maybe she was a single use fire. Maybe she needed to be continued to be experimented on. It's
Yeah,
test
right.
subject. Maybe she needed to be tested on some more. And
Maybe it's like she's like almost like a vortex type thing. So they just keep putting the energy into her, but then it has to expand. It like has to
yeah,
expand outwards somehow, and they need to keep that under control. They fail to keep it under control, and
yeah,
then boom, she's gone off, and
yeah.
they blame the Ratskins because that's the easy thing to do.
All they've done is they've come in and gone, oh my god, there's a bunch of bits of bodies. It must have been the rat skins.
Yeah.
Like, there's still a cart here. There's still gear here. Must have been them. Oh my god, there's a little girl in here.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I'm definitely on board with your theory. I like it. I do like that. It's interesting though, but I just want to harp back very quickly. We did mention her stats, and that that's not our jam about going over the stats. But I did notice something that she has a ballistic skill of 5,
yeah, terrible
and
shot.
terrible shot. But it's quite funny because in her artwork and also the miniature as well, she has a scar over her left eye, and then she has a bionic eye.
Bionic eye.
So I think that's supposed to reflect that ballistic skill of 5. Like she's just righto. I've damaged both my eyes. This is where I'm at now.
But you get close enough, you're in trouble.
Yeah, her weapon skill's good. She's got a 4+ weapon skill and a 4+ initiative, which is not too bad. But yeah, probably not as dangerous as her background would imply in terms of game use.
Yeah.
Which is a bit sad. I thought, oh, maybe Esmeralda's all about quantity over quality. So she just keeps producing these, these girls who will go out there and become part of bodyguards and so forth. But she always has a stockpile of them ready to go.
But looking at the background here, whether she's effective enough in combat or not, it doesn't seem to matter because the way I'm looking at this, it's her mind that has allowed her to take over the, Gideon's racket out of Dustfalls, or as it's properly remembered, the Free State of Zep.
Free State of Zep now.
Now, if she has a reputation of brutality, she has a reputation of you're questioning my merchandise, that's fine. We'll test it on you, see how effective it really is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if she's not exactly the greatest in combat. She's not exactly the greatest shot. She's got lackeys to do that for her. She's got her own guards. She has her own muscle. All she's got to do is say, my name is Estus Jet. You will do as you were told.
Yep. Okay. I can abide by that. So she is a leader per se, sort of thing. More of an influencing figure rather than a particularly dangerous high or Dramatis Personae that you're going to be including within your gang.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I get you. Again, it's one of those things that I would love to see more incorporated within the rules. Some sort of skill or some sort of ability that really reflects that. Maybe
Yeah.
she can drive the gang forward or something like that. We don't see it, but yeah, I still think it's a very cool character to definitely include in your gang, and somebody who you could definitely build a story arc around in a campaign. So you have Estes Jet and her gang of whatever, and they're the ones who are causing the most amount of grief, and they become sort of like the arc villains for a particular campaign.
Yeah. Well, in regards to building a story or a gang around Estes Jet, what sort of a gang would you be building around her? How would your mind create the story for a gang around this woman who can't exactly shoot the broadside of a barn, but has a whole bunch of scum behind her who are more than happy to set fire to said barn?
Yeah, right. I'm going slightly on a different tact here. My gang is a gang of assassins hired to kill her. They are the progeny from the orphanarium. So Esmeralda's grouped together. Estes Jet has just crossed her one too many times, and she's no, you're done now. And so it's this elite cadre of, um, you know, orphan assassin girls or males. I don't know what the gender diversity is like there, but
It
they're
does say that that her girls can get jobs as guilder guards or hired guns. I think they'd be all women.
yeah. Thanks for the clarification and my inability to read.
At your age, the eyesight goes kind of
At
like
my
Estus Jet.
age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, ballistic skill 5 for reading. Yeah, that's the type of gang I'd be going for a counter to her, somebody who they're putting it together to just, we need to give her some sort of notice or some sort of intention of what we're doing, and we're going to hunt her down. And it would be a motley crew, but the story behind it would be that eventually they would start to look at the life Estes Jet has led and be influenced by it. So
Yeah.
there wouldn't be this uniformity to the gang. There wouldn't be like these automatums or these soldiers who are following orders. They're all quite individual. They're all looking for their own, their own path in their life, and they
Nice.
they would be influenced by what she has done. That's the kind of gang I see from that. Because to be honest with you, as much as I like Estes Jet, having done the read, the orphanarium is the coolest bit for me.
Is the coolest. So you're saying you'd have this group of girls that possibly Esmeralda's sent out to hunt and kill Estes Jet, who maybe as they're following her, as they're seeing her, they're sort of saying, well, you've broken away from Esmeralda's control. You've come away from this. You've grown and now you have something of your own. we want that. And
Exactly.
are these girls, what, are they defecting to join over with her?
I think you would have. It would be very difficult to represent on the tabletop, but if you were, role playing the gang, you would have a certain amount of the gang that would be totally loyal to Esmeralda, and other factions that are saying, well, we can understand where Estus is coming from, and we understand that life, that desire to be more than just a guard or more than just a hired tool or weapon for another gang, but actually
Yeah.
being able to have some semblance of freedom on Necromunda. To sort of venerate her. So I think it would be a gang that it would be a little bit tumultuous.
I like that.
That's where my gang go. That's where my gang idea goes. It almost sort of, as we're talking about it, reminds me of our discussion about the Sawtooth Harlots and
Yeah.
and how you would have my idea of gangs emulating the Sawtooth Harlots. So it would be this group of killers that would try to almost emulate Estus Jet, but in a way that they would not be upsetting Esmeralda.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
complex. It's probably a little bit
No, I like that.
too complex to be able to display in the game. But if I was running it, that's the way I'd run it. What
See,
about
man, yeah,
yourself?
I'd
Oh,
go. I would go Estes Jet at the head of, like, quite obviously, her little syndicate where you'd. I'd be wanting to bring in, like, hired gun bullet merchants, ammo jacks, and really focus on this gang having the biggest and the baddest weaponry. Like, run them like an N95 gang where you had that heavy that was toting that auto cannon and your scum in the background. They'd look somewhat uniform, but they'd still be quite disheveled. Like, you'd model them with flak armor, which is obviously, counterfeit produced by Gideon Scabs, manufactoriums, where they kind of look like Imperial Guardsmen or militia, but they're clearly not. Like, one of them would have like the Cadian style helmet, but would be wearing just clearly like knocked together like metal rivets armor, like
yeah,
plated over his flak jacket,
with
whereas the other
almost like
one,
a splash of green on it, just to prove that
yeah,
no, this looks like the original from 40 yards away with the lights down low. Yes, I look like a Cadian.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I use this. Oh man, no, this is genuine Imperial Guard Astra Militarum standard issue, and people are looking at it and being like, "That's literally like filled with sand. That's not armor plating." So
it's
it's
almost like when you have these people who make their own cars overseas. Like I've seen it and they knock together something that makes it look like a Bugatti, but it's just made from
it's made of
heaps
like
of
fiberglass insulation and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And yes, it looks like a Bugatti. And if it was just a silhouette, you'd probably go, yeah, it is. It looks a bit rough, but it is. And that's what I imagine these gangers would look like.
yeah. But I'd really lean into the fact that they're all wearing counterfeit gear, that they've all got the knockoff las guns or the auto guns. You'd make them with real grubby looking wooden stocks, and they'd their gear has clearly been a little bit seen to, but you know it's more reclaimed than genuine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And
I get
yeah,
that. Yeah.
I'd
So
play them real aggressive, real mercantile aggressive.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's almost like they're trying to portray themselves as some sort of legitimate force. You know what I mean? Like some sort of I don't know for you.
They think of themselves as legitimate mercenaries.
Yeah. Okay.
Like we
Yeah.
are, we walk into a bar and all eyes are on us.
Yeah.
Not because people fear you, But you walk in, they fear Estus, they fear what she can do, but they look at you and go, oh, what do these idiots want? Who owes them money? And they're all looking around, seeing who looks real nervous.
Yeah, like why would you make a deal with these morons? Like, we
Exactly.
get it. Estes is terrifying, but those absolute bananas that work for her, why did you even discuss anything with them?
Yeah, because they
right.
know once you hit Estus or once you hit her boss, like, that's when you're in trouble. But
Yeah.
these guys aren't necessarily the cream of the crop, you know?
Yeah, they portray themselves as fake militia, basically, or
Yes,
fake
yes. Like a
or fake army.
yes,
Mm.
yes, like a real second-rate cartel.
Yes, perfect. That's
Yeah,
exactly what it is. And everybody knows that if you really wanted to, you could get one of the gang houses to come down and do a little shakedown on them. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And Estes would probably be sitting there going, "You're a bunch of idiots. I told you, do not piss off the Goliaths. Like, just
correct.
just stay on their good side, or if you're gonna have a rumble
Stay
with them,
in your lane.
stay in your lane. Yeah. Or if you're gonna have a rumble with them, let them win once or twice. Let them eat the crowns. It's fine. You know.
Correct.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I love that gang idea. But I love what you said initially at the start. Like, you'd have the ammo jack in there. You'd have all these different mercantile things that she would have surrounding her.
Correct. Like your ammo jack, they know what they're doing. Your
Mm.
bullet merchant, they know what they're doing. And one or two of your gang are
Yeah.
going to be, and as you like to say, legit hard nuts.
Yeah.
The rest of them, they're proper scum who think it's just real cool to be hanging around with the big crew in the free state of
Yeah.
Zeb, you know? But
Yeah.
they're not dumb enough to think that, Narco Lord Balthazar Van Zep would ever notice them. They're
Yeah.
dumb. They're not stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. I get you. They sort of know their place. They stay in their lane.
Yes, they stay in their lane.
That's cool. I like it. All right. Do you want to move on to our next Dramatis Personae?
Absolutely. And I actually want to stick to the Book of Judgment here. I am going to jump on to Jonny Razor. Now, I really like this one. Jonny is one of the rare few to ever cross Balthazar Van Zep and live to tell the tale. A low-level street dealer from Gilda's Crossing, Jonny was absorbed by Balthazar's black network when the latter took over Dustfalls. Who was in charge of the local chemtrade didn't mean a lot to a scrut like Jonny, and for a time he managed to avoid the attention of his betters. Then, one faithful day, Jonny got in the way of Lothar Hex. Ordinarily, such a mishap would have meant a free bolt-round lobotomy, but on this day, Jonny accidentally stumbled out of a drinking hole and knocked Hex down, saving the infamous killer from a sniper's bullet. Dragged before Balthazar, Jonny would have likely faced a summary skinning or ash blasting, if not for the presence of Erasmus the Mangler, Balthazar's resident rogue doc. The Mangler happened to be looking for test subjects after he had acquired a broken murder servitor via the cold trade and wanted to see if he could graft its limbs onto a live person. As Balthazar was in a rare good mood, he agreed and Jonny was dragged off to the Mangler's operating table. Whether it was Erasmus's fear of failing Balthazar or just natural Underhive hardiness, Jonny survived the operation, stumbling out of the doc's workshop with a bladed cyberarm, a whirring bionic eye, and numerous internal upgrades. Taking the name Jonny Razor for his deadly new appendage, the scummer headed back to Gilda Crossing. Within a few cycles, he had risen up the ranks, due in no small part to his new gifts. It was also at this time Jonny discovered the obedience organs the Mangler had put inside him, his own body rebelling against him if he tried to go against the Narco Lord's wishes. Now, Balthazar loans Jonny out to gangs for extra muscle and to show off the benefits and drawbacks of loyalty to the Black Network. I kind of feel sorry for him.
I was going to say this is one of the most depressing things we've done, and we've done so many episodes for the podcast proper. This is actually one of the really sad ones. Like, he stumbled out of a bar and just happened to bump somebody out of the way. That was it.
And yeah, he saved the life of Lothar Hex. Lothar Hex, basically one of the most feared people, I'd say, on Necromunda. He saved this dude's life. And what does he get for his, benevolent action? Obedience organs and a giant shank arm, which kind of wish I had a shank arm. It seems pretty cool.
So let me get this straight. He stumbles out of a bar
Yep.
and saves someone's life.
Yep.
And then all of this nastiness happens to him.
No, he's literally just bumped into Lothar Hex, and Lothar Hex is like, well, hey, this guy sort of saved my life. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take him to Balthazar because I don't know if I should kill him. But in my mind, someone like Lothar Hex will only kill you if he's going to get paid for it. So
Yeah.
he's like, you definitely work for Balthazar, so I'm going to go take you to Balthazar, and if he pays me to kill you, you're done.
Yeah, but isn't he... It says saving the infamous killer from a sniper's bullet.
Yeah, he's an assassin.
Yes, we saved Hex. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. And Hex works for Zep.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense.
What do you
Why
mean?
would... Well, why? Do you know this is... And I remember early days of the podcast talking about how I was probably a little bit ignorant in Necromunda matters, or matters of Necromunda,
Yeah.
especially the lore. I'm having one of those moments now. It's been a long couple of months since I've had a moment where I've been like, well, I don't really know what's going on here. I don't really get it. Because
It actually happens every time you mispronounce Delark, but no, please do continue.
I have a plaque about that. Delark plaque. I mean, story about one just for the Patreon. You're welcome,
A
folks.
plaque.
A plaquois. That's how you get plaquois. Oh, I'm undermining my own pronunciation. We can't let this get out to the wider community. Yeah.
So you're confused. Are you confused about Lothar Hex?
Well, I think I'm confused about Necromunda now, to be honest. I'm a bit... I know there's no good guys on Necromunda, but I don't understand
I would disagree with that there.
Oh, let me guess. The Van Saar are the good guys, yes?
Close. I think the only actual good guy on Necromunda.
Is the abandoned Tau emissary.
No. In fact, when we do finally get that water case bastard, he knows why it's happening. No, I think the only good guy...
1 second. Welcome to the derail, everybody. 1 second here. What did you call him?
The water-cased bastard?
Aced?
Yes.
Is it not cast?
You cannot correct the pronunciation of anything, sir.
Isn't that like they have a cast?
I think it's...
I can see you Googling it. Google it now. Get the pronunciation. I'm happy to be corrected. I was there. I was there 3,000 years ago when the Tau were first released into the stores, and I've called them cast since then. Go on. We can't have a big awkward pause like this for you hunting for Google.
No, I'll hold on.
You look worried. You look a little worried here. For our loyal listeners, I can tell you, I'll narrate what's happening right now. I can hear it, and you won't be able to pick it up on the audio. He's pressing the pronunciation button on Google.
Yeah, I am. Because I pronounce it the A in it because it's A then STE. I pronounce it the same way I'd pronounce vase.
What? A vase?
Vase.
A vase. I know you weren't
Like,
born here, and that's fine. I do actually give you quite a wide berth when it comes to how to pronounce things. I give you quite a lot of room to move. But you're really pushing the boundaries, mate. And that thick accent of yours, I know it doesn't help, but Sam, you can't have these long pauses. This is a two-person podcast. Don't go down the
yeah, no,
Google
like,
rabbit hole, please, or
so
the Caryatid hole.
I've gone down this weird Caryatid hole on Google pronunciation.
Yep.
Apparently, I pronounce vase like an American. It literally says American pronunciation.
Yeah.
And I pronounce cased like a West Staffordshire Terrier, apparently. um, I oh my
I'm
god,
happy to. I'm happy for this podcast to have its own little idiosyncrasies and call call them castes. We'll call them water cased and air cased and earth cased. But do expect a lot of people to be like, what are they on? Awkward pause, Sam.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's just go ahead and rewind. I think the message is still quite clear. When that watercast bastard gets what coming to him, he knows he deserves it. Yeah, but no, the only good guy on Necromunda is actually someone we've spoken about previously, and I don't think any of us have ever said anything bad about him, is Narco Lord Balthazar Van Zep,
Oh my
leader
God.
of the Free State of Zep.
Yeah. So the
'Cause-
other personality or the actual employer of your son. Okay, fair enough.
yeah, yeah. You cannot convince me Goblin Juve is somehow not working for a fictional character in the 40k universe because he has a lot of firearms and I don't know how. All right.
Well, yeah, I don't know how he would have got his hands on them, but they'd be, yeah. I'm going to say that he's a dangerous little boy.
Yes. Well, let's
Get
get this
back.
track back on the re-rail
Yeah,
and
re-rail. I like that.
yeah,
That's good.
let's re-rail this derail. So Lothar Hex.
Lothar Hex, my understanding, right?
Yep.
And again, this is where I'm going to fall back on my naivety. He has done something good for Hex. So why is he being absolutely destroyed, being turned into something almost unrecognizable? Why is that happening to him?
I genuinely believe it's because at the end of the day, Lothar Hex is terrifying. Everyone is scared of him. And I would love to talk about him now, but he's not one of these four traumatic personae we've pulled up.
Fair enough.
I'll add him to the list. You know what? Screw it. I'm throwing in Lothar Hex on this one here. So
fair enough.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing this. No. We've got our fault.
I was thinking that. Let's just stick to the
because he works for Balthazar Van Zep. And at the end of the day, he knows Jonny Razor works for Balthazar Van Zep. So
how does he know that?
Because Lothar Hex would know everyone in Balthazar's network. Like he's the dude is terrifying. He seems to know everyone and knows everything. Or it just happens to be that he may just know who Jonny is. And so when he drags Jonny back to Balthazar and says, listen, this twerp touched me, but by touching me, he stopped me from getting shot in the face. So I want to shoot him in the face. And Balthazar goes, well, actually, my doc friend, Erasmus, is really wanting to, cut and gut, slice and dice, and see if we can turn someone into a murder cyborg. So I'm gonna let Jonny keep his life, and we're gonna turn him into our own personal murder cyborg.
Okay, I understand. So what we're
Benevolence.
okay, yeah, no, fair enough. What we're saying is that Lothar Hex has some personal space issues, and that is
Yes.
the reason why Jonny went from regular good old Jonny into Johnny Razor.
Yep.
It's as I said at the end of the read about poor Johnny Razor. I actually feel really sorry for him.
I feel super sorry for him. The guy was just walking out of a door, saved someone's life,
Mm.
and yeah, then has some pretty interesting, I don't know, body modifications slapped on him.
Yeah, like yeah, the less than voluntary body modifications, but for for me, this is one of those quintessential moments about trying to understand Necromunda. It is brutality, violence, and horrendous outcomes just for the sake of being. It's not about, any particular end goal. They just go, yeah, right. This poor unfortunate, he's just going to have to cop it.
And cop it, he does. Like, you look at the picture of poor Johnny in
Yeah,
the Book of Judgment there, and yeah, he's got that like that cyborg face with that huge piping going into the backpack, and yeah, literally from like the top of his bicep, just under like the armpit there, that arm is 100% murder shank. Or what's it called? The
yeah,
bladed cyber arm.
yeah, yeah. It's actually not a bad weapon though. Gives you a
Oh,
plus one strength, two damage. Mate, that's not too bad. But
yeah,
he suffers the same problem as Estus Jet, in that his ballistic skill is just absolutely horrendous.
yeah, but a
So
weapon skill of 2+. You
yeah,
get this bad boy in combat, and you are having fun.
yeah, yeah,
Like, yeah, 2 attacks, two plus weapon skill, like damage 2, unless it's strength 4, but even against Goliaths, you're having some fun there. Worst case scenario, you get 1 set of wounds, so you're doing 2 damage.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah,
But what I love in his profile that reflects our lore is that his will and intelligence is so high.
yeah,
Like he's got 9+. So basically, this thing is almost an automaton. You
yeah.
know.
Oh, he ain't great in a lot of those stats.
Yeah, so charisma is not his thing. He's not the bloke you send in to negotiate the deal. Right. It's just sad. I genuinely speaking, the artwork is so sad. But yeah, look, I always get suckered into the trap of thinking there's some sort of silver lining we can look for. This is a particular case where there is none. The silver lining is actually just razor blades and barbed wire,
Yes,
and
yes.
it's your fault for touching it. Yeah.
How dare you save someone's life?
Yeah.
But
You
well,
absolute idiot. You invaded someone's personal space.
instead of giving him all of our sympathy, how about we give him a gang idea? Because I've got one here for Johnny that I think sort of matches where he's going. Now, we know, it does say Balthazar will loan Johnny out to gangs for extra muscle. Show off the benefits and drawbacks of loyalty to the Black Network. But it also says that within a few cycles, Johnny was rising up the ranks. Now, my gang idea for him would be a group of Black Network operatives. So, with Johnny at the head, maybe not the most charismatic leader, but no one's willing to pull a knife on him. I would do these guys up as proper, like, gang enforcer thugs. You know, lots
Yeah.
of
Yep.
lots of real basic weapons, auto pistols, stub guns, auto guns, that sort of thing. But it's the modeling option that you come with for
Yeah.
these, like PDF and militia deserters. So that Cadian kit, but you really batter them up instead of las guns. They've got like
Reclaimed
the
weapons and so forth.
reclaimed
Yeah.
weapons, auto guns. You're going to have a real mismatch. That Hive Scum kit is going to come into play so
Yeah,
well.
definitely.
But
Yep.
also a couple of maybe former gang members being, a couple of Orlok renegades or a Van Saar that maybe got a little bit too iffy on the tech and
Yep.
not even that, but maybe some more experiments of old Erasmus. Make these guys a real thrown together crew of um, like the dregs of the gang that
Yeah.
know that when someone more important says, "Oi, Johnny's going out to do a job, you go with him now." Oh, but I don't want to. I could shoot you in the face. I think
Yeah.
I'll go out with Johnny then. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got it, boss. You got it.
Yeah, I do understand that. I sort of had a similar notion, and it's very similar to the idea that I had for Arrestus Jet as well, which was it's actually a gang led by Erasmus, and
Oh,
it's just all of his creations, and so every so often Johnny comes back, and he's like, "This is my prize one," and you get to add Johnny to the gang, and but otherwise you've just got this mishmash of all these different types of things. So it's not necessarily this elite squad of from the Black Network. It's more sort of Erasmus and his current cluster of experiments. So you could have,
that's sick.
yeah, you could have just a single, a Juve with just a pistol or something like that, and he's just, you know, I'm going to surgically attach this auto pistol to the side of your head so your tracking is perfect with it. So that particular Juve gets the auto pistol, but also the red dot sight. You know what I mean? Or something along
Yeah.
those lines. So you do these little modifications that can be represented um, with the war gear that you're placing upon them, and you aim to have. I wouldn't want them to necessarily be elite. I would want them to be this sort of, you know, all these things that are not necessarily failed either, but more along
Mm,
the lines of like Johnny is the best thing I've made, and this is
yeah.
everything else.
Yeah.
They're still capable. They can still move around, and I might be able to get them in there to shoot up a bar, but they're not going to be able to go off as an individual and become some deadly, bounty hunter or hired muscle or whatever. They still need to format and work as a gang to be effective.
Also, just to fall back onto Johnny's former career as, narcotics distributor, um, I would want you to basically just be constantly buying them combat drugs and friends on collars.
Yes.
And because you can just imagine Erasmus like, you know what, you're not as good as Johnny, but you know how I can make you better? I can slap this collar on you and pump you full of friends on.
Yeah, exactly. Like they would all be considered to be disposable. You know what I mean? It's like just trying to tweak his experiments ever so slightly. Okay, I'll pump you full of friends on for like, 2 months and see what happens to you. If you disappear into the underhive somewhere, oh well, bad luck. Good luck to the next
Yeah,
person that finds you.
it happens.
But if you happen to die, I'll take your body for research. Or if you happen to turn out to be a really good killer, bang, Mr. Zepp's going to be very happy with me because I now have another murder, well, not a murder cyborg, but another murderer who he can go loan out or do whatever he wants with.
A homicide cyborg.
On-site cyborg, yes, the
Uh,
best kind of.
a what's the word? A involuntary manslaughter cyborg.
I think you're being very loose there with the involuntary bit.
Well,
I
they've got
think.
those compliance organs.
Oh,
Or were
right,
they
I see.
the obedience organs?
Yes, yes, yeah, exactly. I still think they would probably still get done for murder. It wouldn't necessarily be classified as involuntary manslaughter.
Until they were granted clemency by that glorious friend of ours and head of the legal system of the Free State of Zep, Narco Lord Balthazar Van Zep.
Just blink in Morse code if you need to save yourself from yourself. I am happy and content with the multiple personalities that run my life. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yep, no problem. Good, we've covered that off.
If only this was video, people
Yeah.
could really have gotten into that joke.
Well, I think we narrated it beautifully. You're welcome,
Yeah.
everybody. All right, enough about the saddest man on Necromunda, and into our next one. Be like the happiest because he's a bit jolly.
He does seem jolly, but also this picture of him that I'm looking at right now makes him seem really angry,
Yes,
like all
I'm with
chefs you've ever met.
Yes. This is the classic "no soup for you" face that he's pulling. No soup for you. All right, we are talking obviously about the classic Bigby Crumb, rattling slopper.
I love this guy.
Bigby Crumb was once the head chef to the Archduke of House Grimm, brought in from the agri world of Pavium Secundus especially for the job. As Bigby will freely admit, he has since fallen on hard times. As the rattling slopper tells it, he was expelled from the spire after an unfortunate incident involving a thread needle worm surprise pie. Rumours persist that the dismissal had less to do with the exploding pies and more to do with the Duchess of Grimm's dislike of rattlings, who she claimed were far too small to be trustworthy. Whatever the reason for Bigby being turfed out of the spire, the nobility's loss was the Underhive's gain. Down in the stinking depths of High Primus, rattlings don't usually warrant a second glance, especially in places like Sump City or Heretic's Hole, where ogrons and mutants regularly rub shoulders with beastmen and weirds. It was here in the very depths of the hive that Bigby found a new life, turning aggressive sump flora and fauna into quite passable soups and stews. Unlike most sloppers who pass themselves off as culinary experts just because they know how to siphon a water still, Bigby can actually cook. This has put him in high demand among the gangs of the hive bottom. The price for hiring Bigby, though, is often joining him in one of his legendary and equally dangerous ingredient hunts, the rattling delving deep into the bad zones of the Underhive in search for his exotic plants and animals to fill his slop pot. Some say he's merely looking to add new recipes to his repertoire, though others claim Bigby's hunts have more to do with creating the perfect dish, one good enough to win his way back into the spire.
And until I have official information from Games Workshop, you cannot convince me his voice is not identical to that of Gordon Ramsay. Where
Yes,
he goes
absolutely.
from campsite to campsite, like introducing himself to sloppers and cooks and that sort of stuff, and he's going through settlements, through all the weird little marketplace and food stalls and like food truck style setups, and he's eating like, you know, stewed rat surprise, and he puts it in his mouth and he just spits it. He's like, what is this shit?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you call this rat?
Are you kidding
Oh.
me? Are you kidding me? What is going on? Yeah, that guy.
Just imagine him going up to this enormous, like, roided up to the eyeballs former Goliath slopper, and he gets two pieces of bread, puts one on
Yeah.
either side of his head. It's like, and what are you? Oh, I'm an idiot sandwich. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're a disgrace. Give me your apron and go away. And the
Yeah.
Goliath's like, oh, okay, goes away. And then Bigby stealing all his ingredients and running off. Just like Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah. How does this work every time? He just got like he's got a classic old like video picked of or like an episode of Hell's Kitchen or something,
Yeah.
and he just based his life on that. It's just like this is an ancient human slopper. This is who I will become. Gordanicus, Ramascus.
Saint Gordanicus.
Saint Gordanicus. Official Necromunda canon. Saint Gordanicus.
Until they tell us otherwise, it is official.
Look, yeah, you completely thrown me. I had some stuff I was going to say about him, but now I just want to explore the idea of like Hell's Kitchen or what was it? I can't remember the name of the show where he ran around fixing kitchens. It was a brilliant
Rescue.
Kitchen Nightmares.
Kitchen Nightmares.
Yes. So, but Bigby going around and doing that and just
Yeah.
finding sloppers and, turning up to their, okay, what have you got here? Oh, let me, you keep all your ingredients frozen? Oh, that's disgusting. Ah, you don't get your thread needle worms fresh? I shouldn't even be here. What is the matter with you people?
Is this a Millisaur egg or Millisaur droppings? Do you even know the difference? And he just keeps eating it I don't know if this is good or not. And as soon as they turn around, he's sweeping their ingredients into his bag. It's running.
Yeah, he Necromundan's kitchen nightmares by just everything becomes thievery. Just like, and
Necromundan kitchen nightmare.
Necromundan kitchen nightmares. It's exactly where I see him.
Mm, I
Oh, that
love it.
is.
I
I
love
love
it.
it. I would watch this show. I would watch this show, and 50% of the episode would be Bigby and the gang that hired him to do, like, to help out. Now having to return the favor of going on one of
Yep.
his ingredient hunts, fighting their way out of that kitchen. You know,
Yeah.
that's actually a
Every
great
time.
scenario. That's such a cool scenario. Have like this mess hall that Bigby's gone, okay, I'm not going hunting for this X, Y, and Z tentacle. It's too hard. I know that kitchen's got them loaded. We're just going to go in there and raid their stash.
That's
That
the
is so
best.
cool. And so you'd have, oh, this is awesome, right? You'd actually have a whole bunch of sloppers that fight. So they could have, like, what's his name's slop pot ladle, right? So they've all got one of them, or they've got a rolling pin or something like along those lines. They all have backup sidearms because it's Necromunda. And
Yeah.
then you have the gang who actually uses that mess hall fighting as well. That
That's
would
the
be
best.
such a cool little fight to
It'd
have.
be you'd run them as like sentry, so you'd originally have like two of your gangers inside the kitchen wearing falsehoods. So the gang doesn't recognize them as like enemies straight away, and you've got to grab the loot caskets, which are actually ingredients or recipe books,
Oh,
and
yes.
yeah, and you're
Yes.
trying to sneak out. But if someone notices that, they're like, "Where are you going with that entire bag of of Millisaur shavings?" And it's like, I'm taking them to the stew. Like, we
Yeah.
don't make stew. And all of a sudden, you've failed that intelligence roll. So
Yeah.
they recognize that you're not actually the dishwasher because the dishwasher wasn't an enormous Goliath. He was actually quite a small. Sorry, the dishwasher was quite a small young boy, like a regular human-sized boy. And this Goliath's
Like a
wearing
dwarf.
he's wearing the boys'
Yeah.
apron. It's literally like a bib.
I
And
love it. They're so dedicated to the plan. They're just like, no, you're playing the dishwasher boy. Like, you bad luck. That's who you have to play.
yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, continue with your
No, but then
scenario. I'm enjoying it.
you have to fight your way out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
But because you're in a kitchen, all you have is like knives or like maybe cleavers and that sort of thing.
Oh, like you can
And
throw plates, like almost like blunt throwing knives. You know what I mean? So
oh,
yeah, and then you could have, I don't know, like the food trolleys. You get to push them and things along those lines. That would be sick. But obviously, yes, the more dangerous things like cleavers and knives and even chopsticks or whatever
yeah,
have you.
that's sick.
That
Oh,
is, I would play that scenario every single day of the week, and to have a Necromundan kitchen, like a proper kitchen, not just a slopper's tent, would look so cool.
that'd be a lot of fun.
I actually follow this person or whatever on Instagram, and they make tiny little food for like doll houses and stuff. It's fascinating. Trust me. It's they make like a full like display of sushi and so forth. I could see that happening, like making those small little ingredients for Necromunda. I reckon it would look really cool. But basically, just making like tentacles and packets of corpse starch and
That would be
all the.
cool. That would be very
Oh,
cool.
look, I should show you. I should show you this channel that I follow. But it would look so cool to have a full blown mess hall and then have a fight in there.
Yeah,
I reckon
little
it
little
was.
like little chairs with the
Yeah.
tables and the do it buffet
Yes.
style. So you've got like the big like buffet where you serve yourself. What are they
Yeah.
called? Like
I don't know. Those self-serve.
the
I know what.
self-serve buffet thing.
Yeah,
But you've
yeah,
got
yeah.
like parts of it that's you're obviously like that is straight up just those are giant maggots, and you can just
Yeah,
imagine people be like, "Ooh, the maggots look fresh today." Like they're
yeah, yeah.
goddamn Ferengi going in there being like, "Ooh, bugs."
Exactly. Have like a, and then you would have to have ash
Uh,
clams in there. Yes, definitely.
oh,
By the
as
way,
long as it's not demonically possessed.
yes, true, true, obviously. By the way, there was something we didn't mention in the Oranthian succession episodes. Oh, the last one, actually, Ruins of Yardland. And it is the squat. What's it? Auric, I think his name is the one who got the big rifle. He actually describes the crack of his rifle hitting something as like popping open an ash clam. I was like,
Really?
oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's. We didn't explore it because it was, 6.5 hour episode. We can't fit everything in. Um,
Yeah,
but
we did
like,
the
it's got to
entire
mention.
house and history of Escher in like 16 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I was fascinated by that. I'm like, they're not just a one-off mention, the old ash clam. It does get a further mention. But you could explore so many different ingredients with Necromunda. It would be so much fun. And
Oh
then,
yeah, turn them
and
into big beasties like you've got from the what book was it in with the different beasts and that you could design? Oh, I cannot remember.
East you could
Uh
design.
yeah, but there's like there's a bunch of different you got rats and millisors and ripperjacks and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You could really use these and where you're killing them and the bodies are left over. You're harvesting different ingredients. Like that'd be a
Mm.
really cool sort of arbitrator run mission for had a couple of players who were maybe new to the campaign or struggling, and you could call it, Bigby's Harvest, where those two gangs you have them working together under the tutelage of Bigby Crumb, going. There's a bunch of rats and millisors, and there's an amble and all that sort of stuff, and we're gonna harvest all these things. But I want some amble eggs. I want rat tails. I want millisor mandibles because we're making a special meal for um, Big Grub Knife Chewer, the local Goliath leader, and he wants a big feast for his boys. So we're gonna make him a good one, and
Big,
that's your
big
mission.
grub, big grub knife chewer.
Yep.
It sounds exactly like big crumb. No?
Oh my god. Um, I've
I
been
love it.
reading a bunch of stuff about like the orcs recently. So I've got like knife chewer and git smasher and
Yeah,
face stomper, and
yeah.
I've somehow literally turned Big Crumb from an angry English chef into an orc.
Yeah,
Um,
no, oh,
no,
wow,
I'm cool with it. Yeah.
I go on. But yeah, no, I love the idea of like you send off the gangs, and it's like literally a shopping list of things that he wants. I need to get 5 of these and 6 of these and 10 of these and go off and get them. And you don't necessarily get the rewards of what that food is because it needs to be prepared. But whoever brings back the most of the ingredients gets the reward. Because looking through his rules, there are no actual rules for him taking the gang on a hunt. Even though it's
No,
in law, which I was looking forward to seeing something like that. I was actually looking for, how does he actually get his reward for what he's doing? But it's not. It's purely just a law theme. But exactly what you're saying. You get an arbitrator on board who goes, let's exploit the fact that Bigby Crumb's here, and how can we get other gangs to get involved in this ingredient hunt.
but oh, man, do we want to talk about? Because we're not rules guys. Everyone knows this. We know a little bit about the rules. Even when I'm playing the game, I still don't know the rules. Like,
Oh, I know.
yeah, yeah. Still got best sports 3 years in a row. But
That's because you don't know the rules.
they feel sorry for me.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll mention it briefly. Bigby comes with this beautiful big slop pot, and in game he literally you can choose what he cooks. Like he gets to add ingredients, and he can make stinger spore stew, which until the end of this round, friendly fighters within 2 inches of the slot pot count as having an assist when making recovery tests. So if anyone goes down near him, that's great. Then there's Friends on Fondue. And until the end of this round, friendly fighters within 2 inches of the slot pot gain both Nerves of Steel and True Grit. So you turn whoever it is into basically mini Goliaths.
Yeah.
Or there's Tentacle Surprise. Until the start of Bigby's next activation, the slot pot counts as a beast's lair. So basically, anyone comes too close to it, this beast attacks them. And it doesn't, it's not triggered by Bigby. Like, that's amazing. What sort of tentacle is he putting in there?
I just thrown like a whole angry Necromunda and octopus in there. It's like, and the water's not even hot enough to hurt it. It's just like lukewarm, but it's just packed full of all like habanero chilies and all this other stuff. Just piss off the octopus. And he's just like, have at him. You are my personal defense weapon.
You call that bloody octopus seasoned? I could barely use this thing as a weapon.
Yeah.
But his model, like, that pot is glorious. And Bigby is standing there in one shoe with those filthy, hairy, rattling feet. Because...
Where's his other shoes then?
It's in the freaking pot. It is...
I love it.
He's literally just thrown the thing in there.
Adds to the flavour.
Yeah, a little bit of athlete's foot.
Yeah,
but
I love the little pepper grinder on his hip as well. It's such a beautiful touch, you know.
Everything. I genuinely like. I have this model. You know, I have this model. And he's just sitting here, and I'm just like, man, I was going to convert him, but I looked at it. I'm just like, I can't. And now, because of our Underhive kitchen nightmares sort of idea, I have to make Big Crumb as Big Crumb. I can't convert this model.
No, you're stuck now.
Also, that Duchess of House Green, racist.
Oh, totally. Oh, well, you haven't really explored the information from the read. Like,
we went on this tangent.
I know. There's a lot of stuff in the read I wanted to explore.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first off, she's a horrible racist. Second off, she's sort of right in saying she claimed rattlings. She claimed were far too small to be trustworthy. Now, if you base that on goblin logic, it makes sense. Goblins, tiny, very naughty mushroom thieves.
But also rattlings in all settings, we in the Imperial Guard, if rattlings end up running the logistics and like the mess halls and that, and they always run the black market.
Yes, yeah. So again, goblin logic applies.
Yep.
You'll be surprised how many scenarios in Necromundan life and real life can be applied to goblin logic, or goblin logic can be applied to them. Sorry, and how much it makes sense, and you get away from it. You're like, no. Skarsnik was right. He was right all along. Yep. Destroy the dwarves. Anyway, moving on. So what I really liked about this is the idea of rattlings in the Underhive. So if we can see one, we can see multiples. And then when they're mentioning that they're down in some city or Heretic's Hole, Ogrins and mutants regularly rubbing shoulders with beastmen. So we know there's beastmen, 100%. But from the way I read that, what I take from that is that there's a lot more beastmen down there than we can imagine.
Not just old Gore Halfhorn.
Exactly. We're talking like beastmen enclaves almost that are just accepted as part of normality down there. And it's not until the Sororitas or the Inquisition or perhaps even the Astartes go down there and go, okay, let's purge some mutants. Let's tick a few boxes and praise be Big E and shoot.
You know me. I am a huge fan of more abhumans in Necromunda. I mean, my house militia has that beautiful big Felgor Ravager mini of the month. I need to get Felgor Ravagers because, frankly, more Beastmen in Necromunda is huge for me. I think we made a joke of it. I definitely didn't come up with the name. I'm doing them as Goliaths. They're going to be Beastmen pretending to be Goliaths, but that's not about Big Crumb. That's not about abhumans. I want to see more Ratlings. I want to see maybe not more squats because now we've got the Ironhead squats, the Leagues of Votan. I want to see more of that crazy stuff because, yeah, I love the insanity that makes up the Imperium in that respect.
See, in that regard as well, this is the perfect canvas to explore different types of abhumans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe there is an abhuman with just beastman legs, but otherwise human completely. You know what I mean? So that satyr type leg design or that
Like
you know.
the old, remember the really old school Ungors where they
Yes.
genuinely did look like satyrs
Yeah, exactly. But you wouldn't even
or
have
satyrs, depending on your pronunciation. I don't want to cause another kerfuffle with you there.
oh sorry, I didn't know which caste, is that how you pronounce it? I was in. My apology. Genuine clown. Anyway, you could explore the different ideas of different types of abhumans. So, like scaly skin on abhumans, or even lizard tails, or frills, or all that kind of stuff.
That's definitely all going to be explored when we do our mutant outcast episode.
Yeah,
Right now, we need to be talking about Bigby Crumb.
Bigby Crumb. Yes. Big Crumb.
Dan, that was weird. That was our first derail ever.
Yeah, I know. I hope on a regular basis we don't derail our episodes. I really do. And that way we can make them nice, succinct, tight little packets that only run for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great idea. Anyway,
yeah.
we've explored a lot with him. I am both encouraged and disappointed by the fact that there is no rules for him and his legendary ingredient hunts, though we seem to have made our own.
Fix that. We can fix that.
So that's where the encouragement comes from. But I am disappointed that GW didn't take the opportunity. The only real question I have about him, and it's a great looking miniature, like I think there's a lot of character that this miniature can provide, not only to a campaign but to a gang as well. But I do have one question about him. His shoulder guard with the 2 stars on it.
I love it.
What do you reckon it means?
I think it's like a rank he's given himself, like he's a 2-star chef.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
He has decided, I cook so much better than all these people. People need to understand that I'm a 2-star chef. I've got 2 Michelin stars.
Yeah.
Has no idea what they are, but he heard Gordanis Ramsuyas on the video picked. The video
Saint Gordanis.
Saint Gordanis say, I've got a Michelin star. And he's like,
I've got
I don't know
2.
what that is. I've got 2 of them. Yes.
Yep.
I'm Bigby.
I'm Bigby Crumb. Now, do you have a gang idea to build around Bigby? Because I've got one. You actually gave me this idea.
Okay. My gang idea comes from a movie I watched quite recently, actually. And it's, I do watch silly movies all the time. It's Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. Have you seen it?
No, but I'm intrigued to see.
So prepare to come down the garden path with me, people. It's a great place to be. Trust me, watch it. It is a great movie just for one character alone in there, and that's Death. Death is just brilliant in that. And
Are you watching this with your son?
Yep, absolutely.
Yes. Now, Nathan Jr. That's Death there on screen. Now, what happens is eventually everyone dies and you never see them again. Yeah, so that's Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Antonio Banderas.
Yeah. Oh, how much fun. Remember Shrek? Yeah.
Remember Shrek? Shrek's eventually going to die as well. And they'll put him in the ground and he'll rot and he'll just be bones. And then he'll be forgotten. Do you want something to eat? Yeah, no. Tell us more
Keep
about how you
trying
emotionally
into it.
scarred your child. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, if I'm honest, I wasn't watching it with him. I just saw it and I was like, "Oh,
you
I suppose
you
I'll
were just
watch
like,
that."
yes, this will make me look less of a weirdo.
Yeah, it didn't. Anyway, there's the villain in it, the main bad guy. He actually has a baker's dozen, and there he's like fighters. So he has like these. He calls them the baker's dozen. There's like 13 of them, and they go off and fight on his behalf, and he has absolutely no concern for them. Like they die, he's like, whatever, doesn't matter. I can keep getting more of them. So the gang I have for Bigby Crumb would be exactly that: a baker's dozen, a minimum of 13 members at all time, because that is a baker's dozen, 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd have to have 13 members, and they would just be all basically not useless, but equipped in the most basic and fundamental ways. Maybe a pistol, maybe a knife. That's about it. And they're just ingredient hunters for Bigby. But they're basically all of his apprentice chefs, and he treats them like trash.
That's my idea.
Yeah, well, that's why we do this podcast together. Unfortunately, we do think quite alike. And yeah, that's the way I see them. And he just, like, they're his apprentices. Obviously, his Jews are his first years, his gangers are his second years, his champions are his third years, and his leader is his fourth year. So he's sous chef, the person that he trusts a little bit, but still not enough to equip properly.
I like that. Like, so my idea was basically the same, where you'd build the whole gang up, where Bigby is your head chef, right? And so this would be part of an Underhive restaurant that Bigby has set up. And this gang, so the two champions are his sous chefs. Like they're vying for the true like position of sous chef.
Yeah,
So they'd
right.
all be equipped with like combat knives or like power knives, chain axes, that sort of thing. Like you're really turning them in there. Then you'd have like line cooks where one of them's going to be like a fry chef. So he's going to have a flamethrower.
Yeah.
And then you've got like you'd have them all in like the little linen clothing that make in chef hats and stuff, and they'd all be equipped really basic. But then you'd have like you'd have a huge Ogren who'd be like your roast chef. It's his duty to carry the big heavy roasts into the ovens, and everyone would just be covered in knives. And you just have this, you'd have an Ogren dishwasher, that giant Goliath from before. He's just this giant hulking Goliath. He's got this tiny little apron, and he's got like some sponges, like tactical sponges and that. But in reality, he's there to just beat the snot out of anyone, and then carry the ingredients that they quote unquote definitely don't steal from other kitchens. And then they leave. But I'd do them up as like a traveling band of chefs where they're just going in and hunting, and then they go back to the restaurant and they all cook under Bigby's sort of design and his guidance. And they try and make the best dishes possible, because if they can make something good enough, he knows he can use that to get back up into the
right.
proper.
Let me ask you something though. Did you ever work in hospitality?
Yeah, man.
Did you?
Yeah, I was a dish pig for ages, and then I literally did it because it was an easy gig. It was actually decent money, and every night after work, you basically got all the beer you wanted.
Yep. Righto.
Yeah.
Okay. No, the reason I'm asking is that you're like very nice to all these gang members. When I worked in hospitality many moons ago, like everybody other than like the head chef and the sous chef were just treated like dirt. Replaceable at a heartbeat.
I'm also 6'7", so most people, and if I, as a dishwasher, I constantly had a knife in my hand.
All right.
Yeah, people don't realize that I'm a how is it you describe a huge pussy. People think I'm intimidating, until
Probably
they
not.
realize I'm not. But yeah, no, I've definitely seen it. I've seen chefs
Yeah.
just lose their minds, and it's that classic mindset of shit rolls downhill. The
Oh
head
yeah,
chef
yeah.
yells at the sous chef, who yells at you, who yells at you, who yells at you, and then they get to the 6'7" dishwasher, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, have a good
Just
day."
keep chugging away there. Yeah, because we both had the same gang idea, but like in a slightly different tact. Like your sort of gang idea is Bigby cares about, almost sort of cares about,
Oh,
whereas my mindset is
Bigby
like,
does not care. Bigby
oh,
does not
okay,
care. He
yeah, yeah,
knows. He knows what they are.
yeah,
He's utilizing each of them for maybe the specific talents they have. But
right,
at
okay.
the end of the
So
day,
you're trying to show off their specific talents. Yeah, I get it. Where
yeah,
I've just
yeah,
got like a rabble, and he's just like, I couldn't give a hoot about any of you.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
if
he
you,
does not care.
okay, yep. I get you. All right, yeah. We're sort of on the same path, but like slightly different reflection on it. I will say I do have another quick gang idea for them, an elite, like an elite team of, oh, what do we call them? What are they called? The gangs that you make up of like elite bounty hunters.
Venators.
Venators. That's it. I can't believe that escaped my head. So you get this elite team of Venators together, and they're just elite ingredient hunters. So, do you know, like the Warcry packs where it's like, these are, monster hunters and so forth.
Yep.
That's exactly what these look like. They've got like harpoon guns, all this other type of stuff, but all of their equipment they use for capturing is all just food storage containers.
Just quickly,
Yeah.
how did I forget about harpoon guns? Oh my god! Can you imagine this guy? Like there you are, your gang are in your hideout, and you've managed to. You've been out spore harvesting, and you've harvested this huge selection of mushrooms, and like these are actually delicious. And you know what? They're actually like they're quite good. They're antibiotic, and you're feeling better. And you and your gang accidentally made the mistake of mentioning it to someone. It's gotten back to Bigby and his crew, and there you are. You're all enjoying a meal, and maybe you're celebrating the one of the Jews becoming a real ganger,
Mm,
or
yeah.
and you're all there. Next thing you know, you just hear this knock at the door, and you send one of the Jews to go open it. Next thing you know, little Fritz has just been speared by this 4 foot long harpoon being held, that's being fired from this launcher, being held by this 2 foot tall halfling who's just like, you know, if they'd asked for the spores, you would have just given them to them. But this
Yeah.
tiny bastard has just murdered your friend, like by spearing him like he's some sort of, sump wombat. And yeah, that's terrifying. Harpoon weapons are terrifying.
Oh, they
I
are.
love them, especially in the hands of ratlings. People, I want more rattling gangs. If you take nothing from this episode, I want more rattling gangs.
Yes, well,
Beastmen.
that was the other thing that we didn't mention. Yeah, I sort of touched on a little bit. You've got to be able to do rattling gangs, like, and not just rattling snipers. I'm talking like rattling close combat specialists and like rattlings. Do you know the orc burner from 40k? Like face shield down, like the welding
Yeah.
mask, huge flame. Imagine a rattling look like that. That would look so cool. That'd be so much fun.
Oh, you get some of those in the Goliath unborn kit.
Oh, right. Yeah. So you put that face shield on, you give him this stumpy little flamer that acts like a welding, like a welder as well, or an oxy cutter. That would look really, really cool.
Oh, it wasn't there. I swear a little while ago there was it looked like a rattling's foot next to some apples, and the internet went crazy being like,
Yes.
oh my god, we're getting new
Yeah.
rattling snipers.
Yeah.
Oh my god, if we get new rattling snipers, I'm now making like a rattling gang to hang out with Bigby Crumb just to go hunting for ingredients.
That would be so cool. As I said, and go out of your way to not have any snipers.
No
make
snipers.
Sure, yeah, like, what's a sniper do in a kitchen? Nothing. Pointless. Try to extrapolate the role of a sniper in a kitchen. You can't. Everything has to be up close and personal. Oh, a little fisherman
Oh, I
rat
love it.
with a little like
Fishman
straw
rattling on
hat.
a loud. Yep. Yep.
Yes, he would look cool.
We're
All
heading into
right.
Hobbit territory. Mm,
We're going to just start designing the Shire in Necromunda.
mm.
I think Bigby has done the very best at taking us completely off the
Yeah.
rails.
Also,
Well,
yeah.
big golf clap to you, Bigby. Well done.
Well
Excellent.
done, buddy. Your Underhive Kitchen Nightmares
Yeah.
coming to you in the spring of 2026.
2026.
Yeah,
Enough
well, it's
time.
going to take us that long. It's going to take me that long to paint the gang.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right.
Oh, well,
Here's our
last
next
one.
and last one. Yeah.
Yeah, we got the big boy himself, Vandoth the Fallen. Vandoth is a figure of legend on Necromunda, and stories are told of his deeds from the sky hives of the Stormlands to the toxic shores of the great Scabby Sea. A giant of a man bound in layers of crimson muscle, Vandoth can crush a man's skull with one hand and turn aside blades with his hardened skin. Most disturbing of all are the tales of Vandoth's unquenchable thirst for blood. It is said that hidden behind his mask are long, canine fangs, and after he kills, the gigantic warrior stoops over his prey to drain them dry. Outlaws sometimes pay for Vandoth's aid with the promise of coin, weapons, or glory, though the giant mostly does as he pleases, aiding others when his interests align with theirs. There are conflicting accounts as to where Vandoth comes from, and who, or even what, he is. Some insist the massive warrior was once a Goliath, somehow corrupted in the vat with tainted blood. Others believe Vandoth was once one of Lord Helmore's personal guards, until he was genetically altered into a vampiric beast for the ruler of Necromunda's amusement. Then there are the stories that the massive fighter is a thing of chaos, though the savagery Vandoth shows to those corrupted by the dark gods would seem to discount this. All that is known for sure is Vandoth has wandered Necromunda for centuries at least, his face hidden behind a mask and an ancient oversized bolt gun at his side.
Tell me the truth, Sam. What is he?
He's a blood angel. There's
Yep.
no other explanation. So I didn't believe this. I bought this book the day it came out,
Yeah.
and I must have read this about Vandoth 50 times. I've looked at the picture here in the Book of Ruin 50 times, and it never clicked to me. And then chatting to Roy from Necromacho, he's just like, nah, man, Vandoth is a blood angel. And I'm like, don't be a dummy, Roy. And then he's like, no, seriously, look at it. Look at the description. And then look at the Space Marine combat knife
I
that's
was
on his
about
left
to
hip.
say, he has
It's
got
just
a
like-
combat knife on his hip, and it, like the artwork is just screams Space Marine, and he's got his printed Imperial Eagle on his little face mask as well.
Yeah.
So, but the Imperial Eagle's everywhere. But clearly, that combat knife, he got either off a Space Marine or it's his own personal one from when he was a little scouty.
Yes. I genuinely think somehow he has come to Necromunda, this blood angel, and he's just gotten lost. He's wound up in the Underhive, and just doesn't seem to care, because when we look at this, like, you look at the picture, he is wearing, like, it looks honestly like almost like a corridor
Yeah.
sort
Definitely.
of like overcoat, but
Yep.
the dude has heavy carapace armor. It specifically says that he turns aside blades with his hardened skin. I'm
Yeah.
genuinely thinking this is implying that people are going to stab him, and it's bouncing off his black carapace.
True. Yeah, the black carapace, of course.
Like,
So they're going to stab him, and they're just like, wow, it's his skin, but it's not really. It's just his
No.
black carapace. Yeah.
yeah, but he's a giant. He
Ooh.
carries an ancient, oversized bolt gun. Like, I'm calling it now. Like, this dude's a blood angel. And
Yeah, 100%. But the bolt gun, the oversized bolt gun, this is harping back to our bolt gun episode where we talked about the concept of bolt guns being made at smaller sizes and so forth to befit the people using them. So clearly on Necromunda, they're describing this as an oversized bolt gun. And they're saying, well, no normal person could wield this. So consequently, you know, 1 + 1 = Blood Angel Space Marine.
yes, but also the fangs, the desire to feed, to exsanguinate corpses as he defeats them. Like, that whole vampire motif, especially when it's a gigantic warrior whose very flesh turns aside the combat blades of the lesser races. Like, this is a blood angel, and
True,
like,
true. Yeah.
how the hell did he get there?
So I don't know where the references are to the Blood Angels being on Necromunda, but he could have been part of a, delegation of Blood Angels that are interacting with the Imperial Fists. Boo. And then just ends up lost on Necromunda. My image of what has happened to him here is being afflicted by the Black Rage whilst not wearing his power armor, and has gone down Hive, murdered his way through it, and now has become something more sentient. That, I do understand the Black Rage makes them cocoa bananas, but they can come back from it a little bit, and so that would make sense.
Well, if we go back to some old N95 lore, the Blood Angels also have Marines stationed on Necromunda, who are identified by wearing black right shoulder pads. They also often wear an ornate golden left shoulder pad, emblazoned with Necromunda below the chapter insignia to distinguish themselves. And they've been known to fight scavies in the Necromundan Underhive. In fact, there's an amazing picture that you've most likely seen 100 times of the Blood Angel with the golden shoulder pad and the green forearm armor.
Yes,
Holding the bolter.
artwork.
He's standing up, shooting down into a bunch of scavies and underhivers. Along his shoulder pad, it says Necromunda.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. I didn't realize there was that lore that existed for that, because that is seriously one of my favorite bits of artwork from all of the Warhammer 40,000 range. I think because it's really raw, and it shows a Space Marine in a really alien environment, in the sense that it's not a battlefield. It is a place where the citizens of the Imperium exist, and then you have something that should be defending those citizens, trying to butcher them and kill them, and is also under pressure, is getting sort of a little bit rock and rolled by the situation as well. So yeah, I really love the fact that there's some lore that can be attached to that as well. But if that be the case, then there's a clear pathway of Blood Angels being on Necromunda, and it doesn't take much for the Black Rage to turn them into a couple of silly lads on a night out.
Well, that makes it 3 separate Space Marine chapters. No, 3 separate Space Marine legions who have been on Necromunda. The Imperial Fists, boo, the Blood Angels, and the Ultramarines.
Oh, true. Yes, the Ultramarines as well.
Yeah, so
about them. Yeah, right.
That's really weird. In my mind, so I imagine it. We know it's an Imperial Fist recruiting world, and they have boo, and they have their Fortress Monastery in their spire. Now, does that mean that the Fists also have possibly this ongoing delegation of Blood Angels, and maybe one of them has this Blood Angel gone succumbed to the Black Rage and has gone down? And, has Vandoth overcome the Black Rage, or is he simply down there succumbing to his more base nature and sort of feeding on the denizens of Necromunda and just going with it, is that stopping him from succumbing?
I see something that I only just noticed for some reason. Too drawn into the bolt gun and the fangs and the combat knife of the picture. He's got manacles on. He's been chained. So I think he was affected by the
What?
he was affected by the Black Rage. A chaplain, or maybe they've held him until they could get a chaplain, but then he has broken out. And that's why he doesn't have his armor. So they know he's already affected. He's probably got the face mask on because he's a little bit dangerous.
Because he's suffering the Black Rage.
And then he has got out, gone down Hive, and is functional enough to be able to, attach himself to outlaw gangs or whatever gang that he can find himself attached to. But as soon as the combat starts, the Black Rage comes back with absolute ferocity, and you end up having Vandoth just going, as I say, cocoa bananas. Everybody's Horus. Doesn't matter. You could be just a slopper working in a kitchen trying to survive your daily grind, and you have a giant, 7 foot, 8 foot tall thing burst through the door claiming that you're Horus, the arch traitor. That's a terrible way to end the workday.
I love it. I love it. Oh, man.
So those manacles definitely...
I've never noticed them until you've just said that.
Those manacles definitely show that he was at least imprisoned in some way at some time, and I'm going to say it's before he went down Hive, before he stole his bolter and stole his combat blade, did whatever he had to get out of that scenario. But most certainly a Blood Angel. That's no two ways about it.
I'm looking at it now. Honestly, you've sold me on that. He started to succumb to the Black Rage. The Blood Angels have restrained him, and he's broken free, gotten into the Underhive, and has basically, because we know for fact he's been there for centuries.
Yeah.
Now, have they assumed he's dead somewhere? Has the Marines going after him died, and they've said, well, he's down there? Or has he pulled... Who's the Blood Angel who's overcome the Black Rage? He's not the chapter master. That's Dante. It's the librarian.
Oh, librarian, Mephiston.
He had a building collapsed on him, wasn't it?
I believe so. I'm not totally over his lore.
Has a building collapsed on top of Vandoth?
And I reckon the hunting party going after him has gone, well, he's dead.
He's dead. He ain't come back.
And
so
the other thing the Blood Angels aren't going to go, hey, we need resources to clear this building rubble so we can recover this corpse. Oh, why are you recovering a corpse that you've got manacled and so forth? Questions start to be asked. And it's like, oh, that's just our Black Rage. Don't worry about that. We don't get it as bad as the Flesh Tearers, so everything's fine. So they're going to try and cover it up almost, And if a giant building has fallen on Vandoth, they're like, Bonza, there's problem solved, We got rid of the orphanage and we got rid of Vandoth. Perfect.
Yeah, and he's gotten out of underneath that building. This is, in my head canon, this is exactly what's happened now. He's gotten out from underneath that building, has just fed on this family of poor wandering guilders that have managed to go past him.
Yeah.
What sort of shook his head until the concussion's gone away and gone, oh, all right. And is now loving life because he's just cruising along, space marining anyone that he finds is an enemy. And he knows if he feeds on the blood of these Underhivers, he's good to go. Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's it.
Tough, yeah. Yeah, it's a great character. I love his skills though. Crushing Blow, Fearsome Hurl, Spring Up, all you know, very much Space Marine driven, especially the crushing blow, and even the spring up. Like, you can't keep him down. You know, you might pin him, but mate, only for a moment. He's going to pop back up and start unloading with that bolter. The only thing I would like to see in his rules is they say it in the lore. It's an oversized bolter, but in his rules, it's just a regular bolt gun.
Regular bolt gun.
Yeah, it would have been great because that would have given us some sort of format to work from to say what does an Astartes bolter look like on Necromunda and how would it play within the game.
His bolt gun is an ammo of 4+. A regular bolt gun is 6+.
Yeah, but then a Arbite's bolt gun is 4+. It's just...
But we're already seeing a difference there.
Nah.
I'm looking at that his bolt gun is better. He has more ammunition with him, showing that he's just that little bit more prepared.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's enough of a change. I personally would have liked to seen, you know, maybe a +1 modifier at long range as well.
And toughness 5. Like, he should be tougher. But
Toughness 5.
250 credit.
wounds.
He's sweet. Oh yeah. And ballistic skill, weapon skill 3+, movement 5. Yeah. Like, he is no slouch. I love the fact he has a bolt gun and a fighting knife, and that's it.
And he's got heavy carapace. So toughness 5, toughness 4, 3 wounds, heavy carapace, and a weapon skill and ballistic skill 3+. I think it's a pretty good representation of a Space Marine. And just with the combination of skills as well, with Spring Up, it does make him quite a fearsome opponent to come up against.
Yeah, he's insane. He is insane.
So, let me ask you, now that we've established his canon, let me ask you something then, because I'm struggling with it. Gang idea around Vandoth.
Right. So I find this the easiest of all of them.
Really?
Yep. So he leads a gang of chefs, all right? And they're out there looking for ingredients for Big Crumb.
Yeah.
Since the Great Darkness has been elected to chapter master of the Dark Angels. Somehow.
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, Blood Angels. Damn it. No, so I would do this in the form of... There's a bunch of these scum who are pretty convinced that he's an Imperial Fist. He's this huge, hulking man. Boo, by the way. With this bolt pistol, this combat knife, who he's literally punching bullets and knives away and laughing. And then obviously he consumes their flesh and exsanguinates them. But I would do them up as you'd make them to be fake Imperial Fists. They'd all have big, heavy armor. You'd try and give them bolters and chain swords, and because these are scum and kids that have been brought up on, like, I'm assuming they have comic books in 40k. We know they have, like, movies and that sort of thing, like picked stories and that, where they'd be showing footage of genuine Astartes. So they'd be watching this and they'd be sort of putting 2 and 2 together, but not realizing they were right. So they would build themselves like this armor that is like hammered metal and old bits of armor plating for furnaces and that, and they're making themselves these big pauldrons and like their Space Marine armor. And they would literally be thinking of themselves as these new Astartes underneath this guy that's definitely Imperial Fist. But he would be using them as like a distraction carnifex, where you're shooting at his like foolish followers, and then they might kill you, and then at which point Vandoth gets to feast on you. But they're also kind of like meals on wheels, because the worst case scenario, if he really needs a feed, that Juve really looks like a tasty snack.
Yeah, righto.
Like,
okay. I like this.
You really have them as like chaff.
Yeah. I'm in a similar vein. I kind of had 2 ideas. I would love to see an elite team of Spirers being sent to go hunt him down. You know,
Oh,
so
stop. That is awesome.
yeah. So they've got this special request in. It's got Imperial stamping all over it, but it's a no questions asked assignment. It's go get him, but bring him in alive if possible, dead if necessary. And it's just this highly elite gang of spires that I think would just be absolutely awesome to go get him. And you're sort of building the gang around the idea that they take down only the big targets. You know, they're
Yeah.
capable of killing small targets, yeah, sure, whatever. But in a scenario where you need a big, nasty brawler taken down, like, you know, even a Goliath Zerker, you would send this Spire team after them. The other idea I had, because that idea is nice, but it's sort of, I don't know, it feels like the obvious option. The other idea I had was a gang, Cawdor gang specifically, that worship Vandoth, but it's almost like they treat him in the same light that you would treat the Emperor. You almost can't ever go see the Emperor. You know, you just, it is the imaginary being on Terra. And that's what they would see Vandoth as. So they would go to battlefields where they know he had been hired, and they would search for relics that he has left behind, and those relics would be the exsanguinated corpses. So
Oh, stop. That is. Sorry. I love that. I love that.
so they would actually cover themselves in like skulls and corpses and all these types of things of these bodies that have been destroyed by Vandoth. And so, you know, bolter casings that he's left behind, or, you know, what is it? A plaster cast of a footprint from him running through a particular
Yes.
yeah. So you would have like a plaster cast hanging off them. It's what's that? Oh, that's Vandoth's boot. Oh, and they never want to actually be near him, you know, but
So
they
still
just
eat
want to.
them.
Yeah, well, he'll eat them, but they don't know that. All they know is that there is something akin to, you know, a whirlwind of death, the absolute majesty of a space marine in their area, and they follow his path of destruction, just gathering up all the little bits and bobs. And this is obviously relies heavy on my desire to have religious nutters in 40k, my favourite part of it.
It's so
And
weird you being pro-religious nutters. You've never implied you're pro-religious nutters at all.
no, I kept it quite quiet, haven't I? But yeah, they would. It's a pilgrimage of all the places Vandoth would be. So if for some reason he was, you know, in a completely different hive, that's what they do. They pack up their shit and they go over to, you know, to Dust Falls, or they go over to Cinderac City or whatever, just to be on the trail of where he is. They never want to get close enough to touch, but they want to be close enough that they can
They
gather
just
up.
want to be close, yeah.
They just want to gather up the relics that he's leaving behind, because he shows faith in the Emperor, he shows power, he shows strength, he shows, and like it even says that he is an agent of order. Vandoth the Fallen may not be hired for Helot Chaos cults, corpse grinder cult, or chaos corrupted gangs. So clearly an agent of good, or an
He
agent of
hates chaos, like you can
That's
tell.
him.
Like,
Yeah.
you know and they're back for the old world Bretonians. Is it the Grail Reliquary?
Yes.
You know,
Yes. Yes.
those blokes with they're holding up the dead knight, and one guy's holding up the horse's head, and some of them are holding the rider, and then one guy's pretending to
Yeah.
hold the tail. Like, I'm picturing them almost being like this, where there's this oh, I don't know, man, like this weird little pilgrimage of these followers of Vandoth, where one guy's holding up this desiccated corpse of this cultist that he's
Yeah.
killed, and he's drained of blood, and he's just like, this is what our Lord has done. And
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a whole sect of this gang whose entire job is just to be like, where's the latest rumors that Vandoth has been? Oh, he's been in the Dome 21C of, East Side Primus Docks. That's where we're going. And they
You gotta
find it.
go.
Oh,
Yeah.
have you guys seen Vandoth lately? Well, yeah, he was over there, but you're probably still going to see the bodies of the cultists he killed. They go find it. Oh man, yeah, no, boom. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So like a corpse hunting, but it's more than corpses though. Like let me be clear on that. It's about finding the bolter casings. It's about finding that bit of shipping container where when he slashed at a cultist, happened to duck out of the way at the last second, and it left a blade imprint or a slash on the shipping container, and they cut that away, and they're like, look at this. This is what his blade can do. That kind of stuff. Really venerating just absolutely nothing to Vandoth, but they're venerating it all, everything he does. And as I said, always wanting to be close, but never close enough to touch, sort of thing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah.
I can visualize this gang, but far too many projects on the plate at the moment.
Oh, I've got so many gangs to do right now.
Oh well.
All right. So that is our first Dramatis Personae episode. Now, of the four we've done, who's
Bigby.
your favourite?
Obviously.
Yeah, buddy.
It has to be Bigby. It can't be Jonny. Jonny made me so sad. I'm so happy we went into Bigby from Jonny.
Yes.
It's like I was a depresso for a minute there. But Bigby, or otherwise known as, Gordanis.
Saint Gordanicus.
Saint Gordanis. Vandoth's cool. Don't get me wrong. Vandoth's really, really
Vandoth
cool.
is a close second.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And Estus, thanks for turning up. But, you get the participation award. That's it.
Yeah, she gets participation. Jonny gets depression. Vandoth gives us like the religious crazy that I think we need every episode.
Yeah.
And also that just like super like conspiracy theory. Like he's obviously a blood angel. Like, and you have to go back into that N95 lore to really find him. But
it's like you're just like Games Workshop. Just say it. It's obviously just say it. Print it. Yeah.
You said this was there 30 years ago. Tell us it's still current.
Yeah.
But dude, Bigby, everything about him, I
don't even have to ask you, do I? Obviously, he's your choice too.
Oh, I'm genuinely looking. I'm pretty sure there's a halfling team in Blood Bowl, isn't there?
There is. They would be brilliant for it.
I'm looking. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so in case, there's actually a couple of There's a halfling on a ram too. Okay, so
I reckon
just quickly,
they would be smaller than Rattlings as well. So Bigby would be like the big guy, the big fella.
He'd be the big boss.
Yes, and they would all look just that little bit stuntier, a little bit smaller than him, and it would make sense as to why he bullies them and he's the head chef.
Okay, so I've found the halflings, and then
like an orc. I found the halflings.
Meat's back on the menu, boys. So looking at these, they're the Greenfield grass huggers.
Yep.
Their logo is literally a giant hand with a sausage on a fork. Their footballs are like pastries. So I've already got stuff to put in my mess hall terrain piece that because of you, I have to build. But looking at these halflings, like some of them have pots on their heads. Some of them have like colanders. One guy's wearing a teapot for a helmet. Like you throw in a couple of combat knives, some rolling pins, like an auto gun on that guy right there, and then you get Rumblelow Sheepskin, who is a dude riding a giant ram with a giant stabbing fork. And then you have Cindy Pie Whistle and Puggy Bacon Breath, who are like, I don't know, man.
Names.
These are star players. These names are top tier. I'm guessing puggy bacon breath. If you look at this mini right here, firstly, look at the armor on that bloke. I get it. He's a tiny fella and he's got his guts hanging out. That bloke is hard. He straight up has spiked brass knuckles. Instead of the sandwich, which would also be on my terrain piece, you replace that with a combat shotgun.
Yeah. That miniature's made for Necromunda. By the way, you do realise what's happening at that sandwich, don't you? No? Awkward pause. He's spinning it on his finger.
Oh my god, like a basketball.
Yeah. Like he's spinning it.
Oh, there's mustard on his hand.
Yeah. That is I'd never seen that miniature. That is an absolute cracker.
Yeah. So I need all of these. Like then you look at this one, look at the sheep, look at the ram.
I'm looking at him now. Yeah. That looks amazing. And you wouldn't even have to like go, he's got a mount or anything. No. That's just that's just the team that he is. He's managed to find some sort of weird
sheep.
Some sheep, yep. Found himself a
An ash ram.
Ash ram. Yes. Yeah, and that's perfect. You just strap the plasma gun to the side of it. That's him carrying his plasma gun.
I love it. Done. I'm going to make, after I do my Chaos Militia and my Beastmen and my other Beastmen and my Escher and my Squats and my other Vansar gang, I'm going to do some Halflings.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
And they need an Ogryn. They're going to need an Ogryn. An Ogryn dishwasher.
Oh, no. I found your Ogryn. It's Thorson Stoutmead.
Thorson Stoutmead.
You'll find him. Keep going.
Oh, my God. Yep, it is. Thorson Stoutmead.
Yeah.
I've never really looked at the Blood Bowl range.
No, same.
Holy heck. These minis, tiny modifications, and they are Necromunda AF.
Max Spleen Ripper wants to be a Chaos Cultist.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that's a Corpse Grunter cultist waiting to happen. And then just Zotes. Zotes as far as the eye can see.
Frankenstein is from Hive Mortis. Easily done.
Eldril Sidewinder. Oh my god, Bile Rot Vomit Flesh. He's got a nurgling on his shoulder.
Yeah, everything about that miniature screams, Nurgle infestation. What was that wonderful bloody...
Okay, you need to stop, because that right there, Games Workshop have misrepresented this model that I'm looking at right now. It says, anyone listening,
I know what you're going to do.
You need to go to the Games Workshop website. You need to go on to Blood Bowl, and you need to look up. They've apparently called him Count Luther von Drakenborg.
Yep. Who's he really, Sam?
That's my boy Timmy Helmore right there. Look at him.
I thought you were going to call him Van Zepp. Right.
Oh my god, is that Narco Lord Balthazar Van Zepp? No, that's Timmy Helmore in his guise as the leader of the Scions of Gothril.
Oh my lord.
Oh man, okay, cancel this whole episode. We're just going to do an entire episode on models that are actually for Necromunda. Hold on, I forget.
A 10-part series.
We're still recording. Patreons. If you want to hear us go over a bunch of Games Workshop models and be like, this is where you could use them, shout off in, I don't know, are there comments on Patreon? I'm not sure. I don't know,
but just let us know on Instagram.
You all message me. I talk to most of you. Like, just shoot me a message. Be like, yeah, man, talk about this. We've gone on for a long time. This was supposed to be a quick episode. It
was supposed to be, but classic derail. Just one last thing though, that Amazon Blood Bowl team are perfect for like off-kilter.
That's a whole gang of wild runners. That is a whole gang of wild runners.
They look so good.
Oh man. Oh, why did we go on to Blood Bowl?
Yeah.
I don't want to play Blood Bowl. I just want to turn it all into Necromunda.
Yeah. I'm totally with you. Oh my
Ah.
god. The Norse Blood Bowl team, the Norska Rampages, has the perfect model for for what's his name? I forgot his name. Bigby. Bigby Crumb's gang. And it is a little piggy with a
Oh my
beer.
god, it's a piggy. It's a piggy with a beer keg.
Yes.
It's a piggy with a beer keg.
That's brilliant. I actually do remember seeing this miniature ages ago, and it's
I'm
you
buying
just
this
forget about
gang
them.
for that miniature. Oh my god, you get 2 of them.
Do you really? Oh, that's
Yeah, there's
genuinely
2 of
cool.
them. There's 2 of them. All right, we're going to end this episode now,
Yes,
scummers.
let's end it.
And we're not going to do a quote. We're not going to do anything like that. This is part 1 of, I don't know, like a 9 or 10 or 12 part series. If we're inevitably going to come up with some other stuff to do in the meantime. And you guys just going to keep getting this. So if we haven't said it, thank you for being our Patreons. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking part in this community we're trying to build. Just thank you. And see you next time.